Koe ahau, hua mai. Ko Nikora Ngaropo ahau, I uri ahau no te raroa tūhoi Ngāti Whare Ngāti Kahungu me Ngāpuhi. Ko ahau te timu kai whakahaere o Young Animators me NNMD. NNMD is the Nikora Ngaropo Motion Design, but NNMD sounds better, more corporate. Yeah, so my background's been in 3D animation, and we've been moving a lot in the education space, and that's actually the space that we're really passionate about. I tipu ake au ki Pōneke, so I grew up in Pōneke, engari e noho ana hau ki Kiriki roa, e rima ngā tau now. So 5 years ago we moved up to Hamilton, and I have to say that the Waikato's been very good to us. My why centres around creating capability and capacity for rangatahi, and the direct relation to that is pretty much because of my whānau. So my son, he's 6 years old now. He's pretty much my why. So when I started on this particular haerenga, it was all around, what am I leaving for him? I've had an awesome career, done some great stuff, but in terms of providing opportunities or a pathway or even visibility, to our people, as you know, bro, there aren't any, or there's very few. So changing that conversation for us around who are Maori that are working in technology, who are Maori who are working in the animation industry, how do we get there so that we can use that technology to focus on our own projects. Obviously here in Aotearoa we're very rich on the cultural side of things, but that the essence of that kōrero sits with how are we able to share our stories or deliver them and create bridges between ourselves and other peoples, not just tauiwi or people here in Aotearoa, but Indigenous communities, international communities, where we find the similarities and the differences, and we can celebrate them both. Making connections between things that other people don't see in a larger scale context. So I'm a big thinker as well. I like the big stuff. I like tying in different kaupapa and then seeing where the alignment is, and then thinking, man, if that person's doing that amazing thing over there and this one's doing that thing over there, how can we bring those together, and is there something new that we can do? Is there innovation in that space, and that's the kind of stuff that actually gets me really inspired, bringing those ideas together, so I'd say that's probably my superpower. On the back end of that, the fact that I don't sleep lots, I probably work far too much. So you can work your 100 or 80 hour week, whenever you want as an entrepreneur, but yeah. It's interesting because I've obviously been raised being Maori, but in saying that, I have Scottish, I have Danish, I have Irish, I have Italian in there, but I resonate with being Maori the most, and that's important to me and to my whānau, because it is about where we're from, where we connect to. So yeah, it's kind of the basis for everything, because that's my whole ethos and value system as well. So some of the things that we intrinsically know as Māori are not necessarily the norm in other places, and so part of that is around having that core value set, which is in Māori, and that's around sort of tikanga kawa, the things that we do on an everyday basis, but more so it's the nuances of that. It's the small things. It's how we greet people, how we manaaki people, how we look after people, our own and others who come into our space, and how we give of ourselves. So for me, being Maori is really important because it's the basis of how I create relationships. And I think that in any culture, it is, you draw on all of those things behind you to make connections with people. And, it, as a basic principle, it is pretty much the treat others the way you want to be treated, and manaaki them in the same respect. Make them feel comfortable, make them feel welcome, and make sure that they leave your space with great memories of their time of being with you. Don't be scared, be courageous enough to try different things. I think our rangatahi are a little bit more broader-minded and more exposed to things these days, but there still is that intrinsic fear around doing things that are different to your peers, but those are the things that set you apart. Those are the things that make you different and actually enrich yourself as a person, so don't be scared. Go after those things that you're interested in, and there's enough information out there now that you can learn about them, or you can find people that can help you. I'd like to be a very successful entrepreneur. I'd like to be wealthy enough that I don't have to think about things when it comes to my family and my whānau. That's kind of my ultimate kind of thing is, why do I want to be in business or making my own calls is I want to be able to give them opportunities. I want to be able to say if I want to, go on a holiday, I don't have to think or blink twice about it, But in saying that, obviously the business side is one thing, but I'd also like to see myself in different positions or places where I can create influence. So, you've seen it, bro. There's not enough of our people that have that forward kind of vision in our space at the moment. So 10 years from now, there will be those who are coming through in that space. But for us, I think that the few of us that are working in that space, we pretty much need to open up those doors to create the opportunities and then mentor and bring that next layer through. Even just looking at politically, to look at Labour Party, National, they've got depth in terms of their young leaders. And I'm only just starting to see that now with the Maori Party that's coming through. They've got a generation of younger leaders that they're mentoring that are coming into that space. I want to see the same thing right across tech. Kids looking at entrepreneurship early, business early, 13, 14, thinking about how can I own my own business, have my own teams, create my own projects. Go online, research, find people that you can model yourself after. Look for Māori who are working in these spaces, and push. I guess the big thing is that right now, every single tauira, student, youth, you are part of a global community by default. That is a huge positive thing, but it also means that you're competing with all of these other people out there in the world for positions, for jobs, all of those kind of things. For our people, I want to see them look at the areas that they're passionate about, that they're good at, and just thrive, if we don't push, we don't get looked at. So I think on the other side of that conversation, I think our kids are getting really good at this now, but we need to start promoting ourselves better so that our faces and our people are at the front of the mind of decision makers. You get opportunities because people see your face and they go, oh, Nikora or Lee, they'd be good for this. But that only happens if you're setting up a process where you're constantly there so that they remember you. So We've now got TikTok, we've now got Instagram, we've got Facebook, we've got LinkedIn, you know, you've got WhatsApp, you've got all these different platforms like Twitch. Build your profiles around things that you're interested in. Have a voice in those spaces. Because you can be the next YouTube star. You can be the next TikTok sensation or influencer. And those are viable pathways now to create income. I just say try everything. Go out there, try everything. Explore, travel. If you get the opportunity, travel. And the reason I say travel is because that's the place where you actually get to explore other cultures, see how other people live. And there's a lot of reflections that come back from that as well. We are very lucky here in Aotearoa. You know, look at how we've managed to get through COVID, even though we've got a few clusters that are popping up. It's business as usual here in comparison to the rest of the world. So if you travel, you get the ability to experience all of those things and how other cultures live. And the reflection is actually, what are the things that we take for granted here? Because even with our poorest whānau, there's a very big difference between those, you know, we have social welfare. It's a safety net for us. Go to India, Sri Lanka, any of those places, they don't have that. They don't have any social systems in place by their government to help them survive through things like this. So, you know, we're lucky.